Hello, thank you for taking a few moments to just kind of check out my video. Um, I was watching the Today Show today, and it occurred to me that this month is anti-bullying month, Stand Up Against Anti-Bullying Month. And the story that was on there was about a girl who was friends with a guy. I think this was based out of Ohio, and it was really sad. Um, the guy's best friend just was bullying her, and then it just progressed, and then I think it progressed to somebody actually calling her and saying she should just commit suicide. And I sat there watching that, and I'm like, what possesses anybody in their right mind to call somebody in and say, you should just commit suicide? You're so ugly. You're such a troll. That just is the is so the furthest from my mentality that somebody can do that. And to me, that only tells me that those people that are doing the bullying feel so low about themselves that they have to bring other people down, that they have to tear other people down, that they have to tear other people's self-esteem down. And my heart went out to this girl. There was a happy ending to the story, and the guy that was the friend to this girl, um, and the guy's friend ended up kind of doing something positive to stand up against bullying. But nevertheless, it was a negative experience, and for this girl, and wonder if she had committed suicide. You know, there are people every day, there are youth every day committing suicide because they just feel like they're so ugly and so unwanted. And I just can't wrap my head around what causes somebody to just hate somebody for absolutely no reason, that they look differently, think differently, dress differently. I just don't get it. You know, I'm brought back to when I was in high school, and um, you know, fortunately, I had a brother that was in wrestling, and I think his reputation um, superseded everything. People knew who my brother was, and I actually had a friend of my brother, Michael Ballback, um, and he stood up for me, and he pretty much said, "You mess with this kid, you're going to deal with me." So I thank God for Michael Ballback. But nevertheless, I still had a couple people that thought they could try to bully me, and there was one who was really short, um, and we lived in a mobile home park growing up, and he lived right down the street from me, and he tried to bully me, and I'm like, dude, I'm taller than you. I'm like, and but I could never understand why he was trying to come for me. You know, always trying to bully me, and I'm like, you know, uh, it didn't work, and I don't know. And there was another one that bullied me too, but I didn't react adversely to this bullying, um, only because I was pretty assured of myself, even though um, you know, I didn't have great examples growing up, and I didn't have a father growing up, but I did grow up in a household where I went to church, and so I think in some part that that's what kept me grounded, to know that these two people that bullied me, um, had no effect, and um, and and I in some ways kind of stood up for myself. I didn't like to fight, and I would walk away if I could. But so I'm fortunate that way. But kids nowadays, the bullying is even worse. I don't know. The whole playing field is a lot different these days, and then not necessarily so, because my mother was bullied when she was younger, and she was an old farm girl. She lived in Nebraska, and they moved in from Wallback, Nebraska, and they moved into Grand Island, and I remember that my mother told me that she was bullied by the city kids, and the word that they used to call her, the bullying you see these days is truly what she endured back when she was going to school. And my mother's 65, and they call her Queenie. They used to call her Queenie. And I just really I just don't get it. That is a really good example of just how, just because you look differently, you've got red hair, maybe you're tall. She was kind of tall, and she looked different. She had red hair. That they pick on you and they call you Queenie. Again, I can't wrap my head around how anybody could be so incredibly cruel. The second person that bullied me was in my Spanish class. Now, I got back at that student. I'm not going to tell you how I got back at that student because I'm not really proud of how I got back at that student, but I got revenge. And it wasn't a bad revenge, but it was a revenge. And he knew I did it. And after I did it, the bullying stopped. So I don't encourage people to do anything violent or anything like that. What I did wasn't violent, but okay, you're probably dying to know what I did. But we were in Spanish class. It was an intro to Spanish, and this kid was bullying me. And he was probably one of the kids in high school I know that made more money and lived in a nicer house, and he was probably part of the jocks in the high school. Looked different than me, was probably better looking than me, whatever the case was. Certainly more popular. And so we went to lunch, and my desk was right next to his. And so I waited for him to leave. I waited for the teacher to leave. And I taped a bobby pin to his chair. And it wasn't a tall needle. I don't know if you can see or not. It was probably that long. But it was big enough. And I taped it to his chair. Now I look back at that and I'm like, that wasn't very nice. But unfortunately, when you're being bullied, you're at your wit's end. You want it to stop. You're tired of it. And that's kind of where I was at. And so I stuck a pin to his chair, and he didn't see it, and he sat right down on it. And he looked right at me. And I didn't say a word. He knew it was me, but I didn't admit to it. Never did get into trouble, but he left me alone. So basically, to make this video here short, kind of end it. So, but this is a very important message. And years later, this kid connected with me on Facebook. Now, obviously an adult, but this guy connected with me on Facebook, and he apologized for his bullying to me in that Spanish class. and he apologized to me because he's got kids of his own. So if you're being bullied, please hang in there. Know who you are. Know that you're special. Know that you're beautiful. And just because you dress differently, or you look differently, or you have red hair, or your hair's not styled, or you don't have the latest fashion, or you don't have the latest classes, doesn't make you any different than anybody else. Doesn't make you any less special than anybody else. In God's eyes, you are just as special and just as valuable. And you need to believe that, because that is the only way that you're going to overcome the torment that these people rain upon you. And make sure that you tell somebody. Don't hold it in. Find somebody, either your parents, a close friend, and make sure you vent. Don't hold it in. Don't let it get to you, and then you just explode and you do something that you'll regret by taking your life. It is not worth it. These people are not worth it. I just want you to know that, these people are doing this because they themselves feel inferior somewhere deep within their core, and they have to make other people feel bad to make themselves look good. And it's pretty shameful, pretty pathetic. And if you are one of the students that's doing the bullying, or you have been bullied, you have done some bullying, shame on you. You should go to that person and you should apologize. Because there's no reason for it. It's unexcusable. So I hope this message, whoever listens to it, I hope that this helps whoever's being bullied, and I certainly hope that it encourages anyone that has done bullying to step up and take responsibility for your actions, and that you owe whoever you have bullied, you owe them an apology face to face, and that it needs to stop. We all need to stand together to stop this bullying, because it has to stop today. So stand today, take a stand today against bullying, because this is a really serious issue, and our young people need your support. Our young people need to know that they are special and that they're invaluable. So have a great day, and I really do hope this video helps you to know that you are incredibly special. Do not believe what those people say. Do not let them get to you. Take care, and God bless.